Not at the moment. We're kind of at the last stages of finalizing our roster, so once we have kind of told everybody, maybe in the next day or two, but we'll let you know.
But I mean, Frazier's playing first base tonight. What do we make of that?
Yeah, I think as far as the Goozy Bird, I guess competition, I can't give you just yet. But as far as who's going to play first base, yeah, Frazier's playing.
Yes.
Frazier's playing tonight. We'll probably in the beginning of the year see the bulk of the playing time there, and then we'll kind of go from there. But I got
What's your
kind.
feeling on what's your feeling on why you're going to go with that arrangement?
Um, Basically because Kiner's kind of earned a spot. that's kind of where we're at. If Kiner wasn't, if I didn't feel so good about Kiner, then obviously Frazier would probably be playing third, and we'd be mixing guys around. But right now, I want to give Kiner the opportunity, and moving Frazier over, I want his bat in the lineup as well. So both those guys should be in there.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Other questions, please, Evan?
Chris, at the risk of asking for a Woody bomb, this certainly looks like your opening day lineup, is it?
I don't want to say that because I don't want to jinx somebody getting hurt. So I'm not going to give you any bombs. I'm going to give you a tiny little missile maybe, but maybe, yeah. I mean, as long as everybody's healthy, that could be it.
The one thing to me that stood out was playing Shu in left field versus Solak at DH. What's your thinking on that situation right now?
Well, I think that's more of if, with Willie being down, if Willie's not available, or, once he's healthy, I could potentially, especially with the right-handed pitcher, I would want Chu and Willie in the lineup. So Chu's got to get some reps in left field. That would, potentially kick Solak out of the lineup. So I want to make sure Chu's obviously comfortable. He's, comfortable wherever you put him in the outfield, both corners. But that's where it would probably stand. If Willie's not available day one, obviously Solak would be in the lineup. And, second day if Willie is available, he may DH. That's why I want to get Chu some reps out there.
That was against right-handed pitchers for both Chu and Calvin,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Just wanted to clear that up. Thanks for the missile.
Little baby missile.
Questions, Jeff?
Door 5, Frazier 6. Is there any thought of flipping them for line of balance sake, or what do you like with door behind Calvin?
I'm not really worried about it, to be honest with you. If you look at the left, right, yeah, I mean, it could make sense, but Rugi hits lefties and Joey hits lefties. I think Joey leads all of baseball in homers against lefties. I know they could be susceptible to a really nasty lefty, but both guys have no fear of lefties. And Rugi's so good with guys in scoring position, as is Todd Frazier, that, to back up, Joey gets on base at such a high clip. Both those guys could have multiple guys on base, multiple at-bats in a game. So, I like the idea of having them. I don't really care if they bring in a lefty, to be honest with you, with Joey and Rugi back-to-back. Both of them handle them really well.
Right. We just talked to Brett with musical accompaniment, and just wondered how you think he is, after the layoff, how far behind you think he is.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I think we're kind of hopeful that he's not too far behind. I think he did a good job of keeping himself in the best shape possible while he was off. As soon as he was symptom free, he was kind of moving around and making sure he was active. Those things you just don't know until we start to see it a little bit more. We're hopeful he's a little ahead of the game than where we expected him to be. So I guess we'll see day by day.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Other questions, please, Levi?
While we're on the topic of relief pitchers, do you have any sort of an update on maybe an expected ETA for Montero and or Joely Rodriguez?
I know Joely threw a bullpen today. I haven't heard I was actually watching it and I had to leave to go to a hitters meeting, but I'll get, I guess, the report on that. It seemed to be, he said he felt great before he started. I saw a few pitches and he looked fine. So we'll get an update on that probably shortly. I will. Montero, we're still we'll see. I mean, I think he's a little bit behind from where we wanted him to be at this point. I don't know what that means as far as when he'll be ready, but hopefully he can progress quickly because we need him.
Other questions, please? Evan?
Chris, as far as since this does look like the opening day lineup, knock on wood, if everybody stays healthy, the question I'd have for you is, what do you feel like is the biggest challenge your lineup faces this year in terms of being productive?
Just consistency. I think that's, in a 60-game season, I know you could, there may be some guys that get hot, but we can't rely on that. I know there's a lot of, the small sample size in a 60-game season is going to be enticing to kind of go with, well, I mean, I guess if a guy's hot, we're going to play him, but it's also enticing to not play a guy if he gets off to a bad start. I think the consistency is what I'm looking for. 1 through 9, I feel like we have a pretty good lineup. If guys can stick to what they've been doing and what I know their commitment to their routine, their process, everything, their game planning, their preparation, if all that stays in line, I mean, we got a pretty deep, especially, we got some guys coming off the bench that, that I'm going to want to play. If Solak's not playing on an everyday basis, I would love to have him in there every day. So you get that kind of quality of an at-bat coming off the bench at times will be really nice. You think about a 1 through 9 as well as Kiner has swung the bat. If he's on an 8 or 9 hole, man, that's a pretty potent bottom of the lineup to kind of wrap around. That's we didn't have that at times last year, and we didn't have the consistency at times. So if we can get 9 guys that are consistent, we should be fine. I feel really confident about it, but that's probably the biggest thing that we have to worry about this year.
On a more serious topic, last night, obviously we saw Gabe Kapler take a knee with some of his players. Didn't know if you had any thoughts on if you would do anything similar or any insight on where your team stands on this.
Yeah, we've been having, numerous conversations. Obviously in this off time, we had multiple conversations about it as a group. We're continuing to have those conversations. I think we're just scratching the surface on, getting a little bit more in depth as far as, our team goes. We obviously have, a number of African-American players on our team. We have a number of, minority players on our team. So the conversations need to continue. And I think as an organization, we need to, encourage that, from a society standpoint. It's been enlightening, honestly, for a lot of people in this organization to hear. But it's two-sided, right? Everybody has their own opinion, and we obviously, I value that. Our country values that. So I don't know. I mean, we've had conversations with Willie and Taylor and DeMarcus and Alex Spees about this and what they would do. So that we're not surprised. I'm not going to speak for them, but I would just encourage all you guys to kind of. They're dealing with a lot right now. I mean, this is a tough time for them. There's a spotlight on them a little bit. I'm just obviously extending my hand out, and the organization is extending their hand out to them to support them, no matter what they do. I wasn't surprised by what I saw in San Francisco. I think, the political spectrum frustrates me because our country is based on, we're free to kind of speak our mind and do whatever we kind of feel in our hearts, and we shouldn't be penalized or looked down upon for decisions that we make. So all I can say is I'm fully supporting, Willie and Taylor and Alex and DeMarcus and whatever they do. And our coaches. We have other coaches that are, African American as well, with Krabby and Bees, Josiah, and like I said, a number of other minority. We're a very, very diverse group, and we take pride in that.
Yeah, I guess just didn't know if you plan to do the same thing that Cap did, if any of your guys kneel, or is that something that we'll just have to wait and see?
Yeah, I don't want to speak for them. As of right now, I would say we're not, but it's not because we're, I told them they can do what they feel in their heart to do. I just don't want to be surprised by anything. That's the only thing I asked them. So you guys will have to wait and see.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Other questions? Rick Renner.
Yeah, Woody, earlier we talked to Todd Frazier, and it's pretty impressive how he's built up such a great relationship with his fellow teammates in such a short amount of time. Why do you think it's been such a seamless transition for him?
I think because that's just who he is. He loves to communicate. He loves to have conversations. He's not afraid to express his opinions and talk. And I think that's something through all of this, this is, like I said, this has been an enlightening, I'm talking about just in general, his ability to just want to dig into who you are. Like, he genuinely cares about his teammates and he wants to get to know them a little bit better. He's been a tremendous, force in our clubhouse in such a positive every day, such a positive way, and also not afraid to, have a tough conversation. I think that's something that, as a staff and as a leader that I value. It's not always easy, but he definitely represents that, that kind of New Jersey. Let's talk about it, and let's not ignore the elephant in the room. He's that guy, and I think every club needs that. We have other guys as well that have done that, but I think that's why he has gained so much support and so much traction in that clubhouse, because people respect him for it.
Thank you.
Other questions? Emily?
Finally called on
Hey,
you.
Woody. I know. I mean, this girl got to do to get called on. I know you talked about it before, but can you just take us through the decision to name Lance the opening day starter, what you saw from him, what led to that decision, and I would assume, you haven't thought twice about it since you made it.
No, I really haven't. It was something I gave a lot of thought to, though. I will tell you, it's this has been a long time coming. I think I started thinking about this decision halfway through last year, when both of them were, I know Lance didn't accept his All-Star nod, but thinking about both of them, in the year they were having and their dialogue, they're competitors, so they're both basically saying, okay, whoever has the best year is going to start opening day next year. Because I gave it to Mike. Obviously, he had been with the team the year before, and I was really excited to hand him the ball, first time ever for him on opening day. So I was already my head was already spinning well into the middle of last year. So when we traded for Corey Kluber, and I was like, oh man, you talk about throwing an awesome wrench into the mix. Obviously getting a 2-time Cy Young winner, but everybody thought, this is an easy one. Now he's number one. I thought that was an easy decision to make him third, just because of what Lance and Mike had done for our organization, for the last year. So deciding on that, honestly, it came down to, I wasn't putting too much thought into, it wasn't like a checklist of things that were heavily in one favor. It was so even that I thought, at the end of the day, I gave it to Mike last year. I'll give it to Lance this year. And both of those guys understood. Mike understood. He was very, happy for Lance, because Lance has never started opening day, which I didn't know before I made the decision. But Lance throwing the last game, as well as he pitched towards the end of last year, and then obviously handing him the ball this year in the new park. He's sending off one old park and beginning a new one. I thought was kind of a cool bonus, but that wasn't the decision. They earned it. Both guys earned it. There was no easy decision, but I just felt it was important to give it to Lance since I gave it to Mike last year.
And how fun has it been for you to see that fire when there's no one in the stands, when he's going up against his teammates, and he's still the same?
Honestly, all 5 guys, to be honest with you. It's, we've only had 3 so far that are officially ready, because we still got 2 more to go. But I told Julio to think what an accomplishment to have, your top 3 guys and knock on wood, our top 5 guys fully ready to go after this much time off, being at home, having to deal with all the things. I mean, we look back at the 3 months and just, I'm so proud of those guys and our staff and just communicating and getting through this. And now they're fully ready to go. I get goosebumps thinking about it, because I'm like, what an advantage, what a great opportunity for us in a shortened season to have our best guys ready to take the ball basically at maximum capacity. It just speaks volumes of who they are and their commitment to this organization.
Thank you, Woody.
Just overall thoughts getting to play another team?
Yeah, I'm not happy. We haven't won a game all spring. Either that or we won them all. I don't know what to think. It was kind of nice to see our guys competing against another team. Would like to win that game instead of lose it, but no, overall we came out healthy. Gibby came out healthy. I thought it was fine. He made a couple of mistakes, and they have some pretty good top of their lineup, and they made him pay. But overall, he got out of it fine. got to the pitch count we wanted, threw 5 innings, and we move on from there. And the rest of our guys I thought did a good job. Bullpen guys got their inning in and ready to roll.
I'm going to continue to ask about Leody Taveras because he continues to perform. He drove in the only run today. I know you guys have yet to make final roster decisions, but what more can you say about the guy? I mean, the guy, he's just doing everything right, isn't he?
Pretty much. It's hard to find any faults in his game right now. Yeah, it's been really impressive. The fact that he's still here tells you a lot. Obviously, he's still very, very in the mix, and there's a lot of competition for those spots. But the kid has played his butt off, honestly, in every way, defensively, offensively, on the bases. He's impacted pretty much every game he's played.
I'm moving back on. Thank you.
Other questions, please, Levi.
When we talked to Kyle, I mean, he seemed in fairly high spirits. He said he was kind of working on a few things with Robinson and fastball and all that. He gets one start against another team. As a manager, how much are you looking for him to compete as opposed to like working on things? And were you? I mean, I'm sure it's a spectrum of both. How were you? How did you feel about either of those ends of the spectrum?
I think he was doing both. I mean, there was a few things that he said he probably wouldn't do in a normal situation, but he was wanting to get the feel for it. His changeup. They are not a homer. I'd never throw him a changeup, and he ended up hitting a homer off it, of course. Yeah, I mean, listen, these guys are still having the ability to kind of, hey, I'm going to try to get this sequence or this pitch. I want to try to make sure I got that for my real start. I don't mind that at all. But I still see some competitiveness out there. A lot of guys, when they set out to do those things and they give up a homer, everything changes. The competitive juices start flowing, and sometimes I like our guys getting hit a little bit because you want them to feel that. You want them to try to get through tough innings, and because those are the things that I'm gonna have to base whether I keep them in the game or not in a future date. I want to see how they handle it. So they all know that, and it's part of the game. Nobody's gonna have a 0 ERA at the end of the year. So to see how they get through that, see how he looked at the end of the game, in the 80, 85 pitch mark, see how his pitches are coming out. Is he maintaining his velocity? All those things we're all looking at. But I thought he came out of it fine.
I didn't mean to imply that he wasn't competing. I just,
No, yeah.
kind of at the same time there in a final two-note start. So
No, of course.
a good thing.
Next question, please, TR.
What have you seen from Ian Jabot, and what has he left to show as far as making this team?
Yeah, he's pretty much dominated since he's come back. He's a guy that looks better now than he did the first time, and we knew he always had good stuff. That's obviously why we like him. The way he always had trouble throwing strikes, getting ahead of hitters and all the things that we value, from a process standpoint. He kind of he's had to adapt and learn how to attack the strike zone, use his stuff, with his fastball and his changeup and his slider. He doesn't have anything. If he doesn't make the team, or if he does, I mean, there's nothing else he could have done, if that makes sense. He's out of 18 or 19 hitters or 20 hitters, whatever, he struck out 12 or 13 of them. So he's proven that, he belongs, and whether he does or doesn't, he couldn't have done any more to make the team.
Next question, please, Evan.
I think I see your mouth moving, but I can't hear what you're saying.
Can't hear you.
Aha. Yes.
How would you explain the evolution that Leody, not evolution, but the steps Leody has taken since spring training ended?
I don't know. I think I saw last year we had our instructional league here, and I walked out there and it was after our game, and Leody's playing. First pitch I saw him take, it was 3-0 fastball against, I think they were playing Dallas Baptist maybe, and he launched one in the upper deck at our old ballpark, or he hit a line drive. It was like 108 mile an hour. And I know that I've been talking to a lot of our hitting coaches on the minor league side, and just they've been telling me what he's working on and his front side not flying open. And there's just so many little things that he's cleaned up. And his power never really showed in his stats, but there's a ton of power there. So to see that, I guess it all kind of come, the fight, the kid loves to compete, and that kind of shows. He's scared of nothing. He's just got it. Louis Ortiz kind of described it as one day that Dominican kids are going to emulate this kid's swing. Just the way he can hit the baseball. And you see what he does in the outfield. You see what he does on the bases. He's a complete player, man. He's like pretty much a 5-tool guy. And we have obviously a really high expectations for him. So I'm not surprised by any of it, knowing the competitive kid. But to see the swing actually play against big league pitching is it's music to my ears, and I love it because I just see such a future for this kid in our organization.
Given how, I guess I am asking you to give something away, but given how advanced he is defensively, and what you just talked about with the swing and the offensive ability not being a liability right now, have you told him he's on the team?
I have not. I will wait till tomorrow to let you guys know.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions, please? Alex?
Woody, another dominant outing by Jonathan Hernandez today, granted against the Rocky Reserves, but he's had a very impressive spring training. What does that do for Jose Leclerc? Are you hoping it puts a little bit more pressure on him to perform, where you have somebody who, not saying he's going to take his place, but could go another option?
Yeah, I wouldn't put that on Jonathan just yet. I think it's more of, I think it's more of just giving us a better, another option for 7-8. I'm not going to, I love everybody to push each other. I wouldn't expect him to take the closer spot just yet. That's kind of, a little too far in the future. But he's pitching well. He's obviously somebody that if Leclerc was down that day, I would consider it. I want everybody to push each other. I don't think there's healthy competition is what we need in our clubhouse. But if he takes on the role of 7-8, somewhere around there, if he can take those significant innings for us, that'd be fantastic because we need that.
And it's an exhibition game, so the aggressiveness of Jose Trevino on the bases, trying to score on the Solak single, were you all in favor of that, or would you prefer maybe he held back, being an exhibition game?
No, I think he probably should have scored. He actually slowed down coming towards third. If he'd have kept running hard, he would have been safe easy. And in that situation with 2 outs, ball to the wall, we're expecting everybody to score from first base. We kind of talk about that a lot. So, absolutely, we're going to try to send them. We need to start playing some real games, obviously, and I don't want to hold these guys back at all.
Thanks, Woody.
Other questions, Jeff?
So is it your plan to reveal the schedule tomorrow, or are you guys going to take it to the deadline on Thursday?
To reveal the roster, you mean?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, at some point we're probably do it tomorrow. I don't know exactly when we're going to announce it publicly, but everybody will know by tomorrow for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Sam?
I believe back in 2009, you were teammates with Daniel Bard. I'm just curious if you have kind of any thoughts on what he's kind of gone through, and if you ever dealt with that as a coach or a manager or anything.
Pretty fascinating story. Yeah, we were teammates for a brief time. I just remember him being quiet. He was a good teammate. I really enjoyed our conversations. We didn't talk a whole lot, but when we did, it was he's a smart guy. Throwing 100 miles an hour. I faced him a few times, and it's not a fun at bat for a righty. He's throwing 100 miles an hour, and for a while there, he didn't quite know where it was going. And for him to kind of hit a wall and fight his way back, and at one point he was the mental skills guy or whatever you want to call it with the Red Sox, basically teaching how the guys get through failure and how to learn how to bounce back from failure. Basically taught himself a lot of things that helped him, and he realized he could still throw a baseball 100 miles an hour, and it's a cool story for him to bounce back from, what he went through. It's not, most guys don't come back from that. And they have command issues like that. And, it's good to see him back out there. I don't, root for him when he's pitching against us, but it is a cool story.
Other questions? Evan, last one.
Don't sound so thrilled, John. Woody, Willie ran the bases again today. Just wanted to get an update on where that stood and what the verdict was on how we ran.
Yeah, everything came out fine. I think tomorrow I got him a DH. I think we got 2 DHs tomorrow. We were hitting 10 guys. I think, depending on how he feels tomorrow, if he's a little bit sore, I might have somebody run for him every time. But if he feels fine, I'd like to see him run the bases just so we can kind of see how that kind of plays out. And if he'd be available for, 1 or 2, probably game 2 or 3 as a DH, that would be fantastic. Obviously, they have 2 righties to start the season. I'd like him to be in there for one of those. Yeah, I mean, everything's fine for now. He bounced back a lot faster than I thought he would, and it's a good sign.
Did he run the bases before today, or was that the first time?
He had done some running. I don't think he had actually been on the base paths, but he'd done some running in the outfield, and he'd been running every day, basically. But today was the first day, I think, on the bases itself.
I think John wants me to shut up now.
Any other questions? Chris, you got one more?
Yeah, just one. With the bases loaded, Kiner-Falefa came up and then he grounds out to the pitcher on the first pitch. Were you kind of upset that he was a little overzealous on that, or just what was your takeaway from that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like him to be a little bit more patient. I came in and checked just to see. One thing about Kiner is, he's good at hitting anything you throw up there. His bat to ball skills are probably, him and Elvis are probably the 2 best in baseball, in my opinion. So he needs to be a little bit more selective. Obviously, when he hits the barrel to the ball right now, it's coming off pretty hot. So, he just got, like you said, he just got a little bit over anxious, tried to do too much. That's an easy fix. Just, think more center of the plate. And he's going to get a lot of good pitches to hit probably, especially if he's hitting down at the bottom. Teams don't know that he's in a better place than he was before. So I anticipate him getting, but to be good, I told him this the other day, you have to be consistent. You can't sneak up on anybody over and over and over again. At some point, people are going to realize you're good, and you got to be able to control the strike zone. So he's going to have to adjust to that at times, because he's going to get a lot of pitches to hit, but he's got to control those overzealous emotions.